Oh, I told you. He's like, it's gonna be standard. It's a 9/16. I was like, bro, that looks like a 13 millimeter. I told you.
Okay, we're here, obviously working on a 70 Charger. Let's look at this big pile of parts over here. So, all this stuff needs to go on the front end of that car. We've already got pretty much all the rear end stuff kind of where we want it. But this is all QA1. This is a big cradle to replace the K-member. We're doing coilovers, rack and pinion, and Gen 3 HEMI mounts. So the Gen 3 HEMI mounts are gonna be used for what's in this crate behind Blue's hood. And that's a Blueprint 426 HEMI, a Gen 3 HEMI with a 5-speed. And you can see over here, we've already got a bunch of the rear end stuff done. Yesterday, we got it all mocked up and hung it and did our ride height measurements and side to side measurements. And then Junior went ahead and welded on the tabs for the 4-link. So the cross members welded in for the rear 4-link, so no more leaf springs in the back of this thing. Really badass mod shocks from them. So this thing's gonna have a ton of tunability in the suspension. It's already got Wilwood disc brakes, Mopar 8 3/4 rear end. So this should be able to handle the power. And this car also got a bunch of chassis stiffening stuff. So we originally were gonna just throw a bunch of really good parts on a pretty nice car to start with, no rust or anything like that. But at that power level, we started thinking, well, it's probably gonna need some chassis stiffening. So it got all the US car tool stuff, which is subframe connectors and torque boxes all welded in to the chassis. That way, with that 426 and all this QA1 suspension, the chassis will be pretty stiff. These cars are known for a little bit of body flex. So we think we got rid of all that. Now we're just getting ready to undercoat the whole thing now that all the welding's done. Cross members are in, all the chassis stiffening's in. Basically, it's time to undercoat it so it all looks nice and pretty, and then we'll start final assembly on everything. Setting up the rear coilovers to weld in the tabs, so we're just checking ride height, pinion angle, lateral side to side squareness of the rear end. I'm going to weld on some tabs for the 4-link mounts. So basically, these are the tabs that we're trying to mock up to get into place where we want them, and we'll weld those onto the rear end. But right now we were just adjusting all the control arms to make sure the wheels are centered. Front to back in the wheel wells, side to side in the car. Make sure all that relation is good. And then the ride height's where we want. Right now we're about to just set the pinion angle, and then we'll know where to tack those tabs on. This is gonna go on the car. These actually bolt to the car now that we did all the undercoating, painted the engine bay, welded all the subframe connectors in. Everything's ready to start bolting parts together. We are trying to put this all in from underneath. Well, so we're gonna bolt it into the K-member first. Make sure the trans clears the tunnel, make a hole for the shifter, and hopefully that's it, and everything goes back together finally.
So is this our first time really uncovering this thing? And
yeah, I think we took the box off once just to verify that it was there and it existed. But yeah, this is our first like real look at this thing, so it's nice. It's extremely nice.
Can you walk us quickly through what we got here? Because
yeah,
it's a lot.
So yeah, okay. So this is a Blueprint sent this like all together as a package. It's a 426 cubic inch naturally aspirated HEMI. So they start with like a Hellcat block basically, and they do like bigger forged internal, so it's bored and stroked to be a 426, and then it has really good. I think these are like the Apache heads from like a 392. so they flow really well. And then a custom fabricated intake, and then a Holley engine management, so it has a Terminator X Max. CVF front accessory drive, all bolted on and everything. And then a Tremec TKX. So I've been wanting to put one of these TKXs in a car because they're a little bit more compact. And they're a real beefy 5-speed. They can handle a ton of torque, way more than a normal like T5. And they have overdrive, and in theory they fit in a factory transmission panel. So we're actually about to find out right now if that's true or not. But we're gonna bolt it all into the QA1 cross member.
Can we walk over and check this thing out? Because it was a whole build, and
yeah, so we got like a lot of this assembled so that we can bolt the engine into here. And then we're gonna slide it all under the car and see how it all works out. But I have a feeling we're gonna be like a couple times up and down with the lift, you know, getting everything squared away. But this is like really, really nice parts are starting to actually go on the car. So it's an exciting day.
what's the advantage of, like, you know, you have this body over here, and you're gonna go in from the bottom. Like, what's the challenges? What's the problems?
Okay, so with these Mopars, because the K-member bolts up from the bottom, a lot of times if you want to drop the engine with the transmission, if you do have a lift, coming out of the bottom is much easier. It's 4 bolts that bolt the K-member to the frame rails. There is times where if you're just doing an engine, you can go in here through the top, but because this core support is like, you know, it's sheet metal, it's nothing super thick. So if you are going in with an engine and trans, you got to angle it. We just painted all this, smoothed the firewall, smoothed out all the holes in the engine bay, and Junior sprayed it this nice satin black. So I really don't want to be like scratching this or anything. So when you go up from the bottom, you kind of remove all the risk of scratching any of this, maybe denting this, or like changing angles when you're going in. So it's a lot nicer when you do have a lift and you're able to just drop it up in from the bottom.
All right, let's see how this goes.
Yep.
This thing is awesome, by the way. Do you think it'd fit in my Ford Escape?
Yeah, anything will fit with enough torches and welders.
So you tried the 916, now you're trying a 13 mil? Oh,
what?
I told you. He's like, it's gonna be standard, it's a 916. I was like, bro, that looks like a 13 millimeter. I told you. This is a Blueprint Engines 426 HEMI. This is made up of a Hellcat engine block, scat pack heads, all forged internals, and it's also got a TKX 5-speed connected to it. You can order this from Blueprint's website, and they'll ship it right to you on a crate, and you can drop it in whatever you're working on.
Okay, everything is finalized as far as installation of all the QA1 stuff. It went in really smoothly as always. And this car has actually already been to an alignment shop, so it's got a really good, perfect alignment on it. Everything's squared up. It's been nut and bolted. We actually got a couple 100 miles on it now, and it feels incredible. It's night and day. We did get a chance to drive this exact car without all this stuff. And I can't even tell you the comparison because it just feels like a completely different car. But that's what's nice about it. And we went through a lot of adjustments on the shocks. So these are double adjustables, and from the way we first set it up to now, We've actually been through like all the variations of feeling how firm you want to go. The car felt like it handled really good with like a firmer setting, but it didn't ride as good. And so we went ahead and softened it up, and it actually still handles just as good, but the ride is more compliant on like a mid-range setting. We weighed the car. The car only weighs 3,500 pounds, so it doesn't need a crazy amount of spring rate, and it's a little more forgiving with the shock settings. Rack and pinion is night and day. I love the way this rack and pinion feels on this car. It's what they really needed. The Mopar steering just left a lot to be desired. This car goes down the freeway, super smooth, predictable with the steering. The alignment's perfect now. And in the back, the 4-link is a huge plus. So this also offered a ton of adjustability as far as pinion angle with the upper links, adjustability on wheelbase of where you put everything, the ride height. That was another thing that was really nice to be able to dial in. As we drove the car, the rear spring rate's a little lighter, so it kept settling. So the springs kept settling a little bit the more we drove it, and then we put gas in it and the weight varied. So then we were able to adjust the ride height and fine tune everything where we wanted it right before we went to alignment. And now the car is completely square as well. The nice thing about the adjustability versus a leaf spring is not only the wheelbase, but you can square up the front and rear wheels to the car, which is like what you want on a really specific dialed in alignment. So it just offered a ton of upgrades. But like I said, the biggest thing is the behind the wheel feel. So I'm really glad we went through the work of putting this in this car for one of you guys to win.